Hey, John here. Here's lick of the day number 162. This is a B Lydian sweep and tap lick. As usual, I'm going to play it once slowly and then break it down. During the breakdown, I'm going to share some practice advice you can apply to this lick and pretty much anything else you're practicing. If you want the tabs, you have a link in the description below. So we're going to start here on the 13th fret of the high E string. Alright, so this one also works really well over D sharp minor or E flat minor. Try it out over each of the different chords in a major scale context and its modes basically, and you'll get a different effect. But also figure this one sounds really good in Lydian, so that's where I put the tonality. So we start here. This F sharp major 7 arpeggio. And the notes, or the frets rather, is 13, 9 on the high E string, 11 on B, 10 on G, 11 on D, 13 and 9 on the A string. And I play this like this: up, pull off, up, 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 down, hammer, down, 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 down. So after that we're gonna add this note to this arpeggio, and this is the 6th in the context, and since we already have a major 7th chord and you add the 6th, basically turns it into F sharp major 13th chord. Not going to get into all the chordal theory here, but basically that's what it's going to sound like. But you can also just view it as adding notes from the scale, and that's what we're doing here. I'm just filling the blanks in here. So we have this 9, 11, 13, and then we're going to tap on 18, go back and back again, tap on 16, and then final time tap on 14. So we have this almost like a pedal note lick, but now we have a group of notes that we're pedaling from, because we always go in between, and then we change the top note here. So all right, so one thing to think about here is that it's a good idea to start this lick a bit closer to the fretboard with your right hand, so you have less distance to travel when you get into the tap part. But also making sure that as you practice this, try to find what's comfortable for you, but find a note here in the hammer-ons where you want to use it as an anchor to move your hand at that point, so you don't end up doing this. And then oh shit, I have to move really quickly. But if you do this instead, let's say I find this note as the anchor. The first note is hard to have as an anchor, because then you have the problem of you just play that, so it's going to be very, it's not going to be great. And that's what we want to avoid. So instead, if I focus on this note as the anchor, when I practice, I can just make sure that I move my hand and try to be in the vicinity here of the fret that I'm going to tap on, which is 18. As this note comes down, and then I have plenty of time to relax. Not really, but in the context of the lick, you have plenty of time, because basically half speed, depending on what tempo you're playing it at, because you have one note in between here. So this strategy has been really helpful for me and for my students as well, whenever you try to add some taps into your overall playing. So this is not only like a sweep and tap thing. You can go from alternate picking, and you just need a couple of notes legato to make sure you can get into the tap part, but actually having this anchor point is really helpful. And obviously you need to work on this slowly, but if you do that, you're going to find that when you speed it up, your hands are going to do this automatically if you do it enough. So I'm here tapping 18, 16, 14, and then on 14 I'm just gonna go down the scale now. This is quite simple to remember, because you kind of get this staircase thing even though we're skipping strings. So you have 14 on the E string, 15 on the G string, and then 16 on the A string. So you kind of go in this type of pattern. So, and then you add the notes here. So you already know these. And then here you add 13, 11, and 10. And then finally you add, let's see, 16. And then you have same notes as you had on the high E string, so 13, 11, and 9. And then we slide down to this note, and this note is really important because that's the sort of Lydian note in the key of B. So that's basically the whole thing. So again, from the beginning. And if you find that it's tricky to get the scale, descending scale coming down here, try to focus on syncing up the first note of each string in the left hand, which is going to be the pinky. If you don't have ginormous hands and do this for whatever reason. So the pinky most likely. So when I go to the G string here, I make sure that I line up these two fingers. And by line up, I mean I don't want to get any flams. I don't want to do that or that. So I want to get them on at the same time. So real connection here. Whoops. Because if you do that, you're going to find that the rest of the notes in the left hand will sort of fall into place. So once you get that first note, you have plenty of time to get the other fingers in line. And if you do this repeatedly, and you can just take one string group here and move that up and down chromatically. So and so on, up and down the fretboard. Then you do the same thing for the last string group here. So and so on, and then really focus on that, these two fingers coming down at the same time. So these two tips, anchoring a note here so you can shift into tapping mode, so to speak, and also syncing up the descending runs with whatever the first note in the left hand and the tap note will be. It's a really helpful strategies that helped me a lot, and then I passed that on to my students. And now I'm passing it on to you. So give it a try if you've had any issues with this type of stuff. And if you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, see you in the next one.